Hello there. Um, in this video, excuse me, coffee, the elixir of life. Um, in this video, I want to talk about start talking again about the published books, uh, just to cover my journey through self-publishing, how I feel like I've improved from where I started, um, and uh, and where I plan to go in the future. So, starting from the top, we have the very first book, With Eyes Open. Now, one thing about all the covers on these books, I am looking into replacing them with new covers. I'm probably not going to do any real changes to the stories themselves. I'm probably just going to go through them because I was just reading through A Bright Symmetry last night and found a shitload of typos. Yeah, gotta admire the tenacity of typos that make it through all that editing. So, not gonna be any real content change, just to new covers. Like I said, we'll be going through with more of a fine tooth comb and hopefully finding all the typos this time. But for now, we're talking about With Eyes Open. Um, when I start writing, I don't have series in mind or sequels in mind. I just write the stories, and if I like the characters enough, I will uh, eventually come up with a storyline that I can write a sequel to. That will become a sequel. And sometimes that happens while the story's in progress, which is kind of what happened with the two stories here. Way back in the late '90s, when I wrote the initial story With Eyes Open, I was a little stuck. Nothing major, but I was a little stuck. So I had over the years I've read various bits of advice for how to beat um, writer's block. Pardon me, just adjusting this a little bit. How to beat writer's block, and one of them was turn the television on, write down the first line of dialogue that you hear, and then build a story from there. Why not? I'll try anything. So I did that, turned the television on, and the first line of dialogue that I heard was, "Wasn't there something you wanted to say about your marriage?" And from there, I started writing. And the story quickly grew into a. I won't go too deeply into spoilers here, but there's going to be some. Excuse me. There are going to be some, but I'll try and keep it to a minimum. Um, and so I started writing from there. It initially started as just a non-science fiction fantasy story, just a regular straight piece of dramatic fiction about a woman who finds out the man she's been dating and had what she thought was a serious relationship with was actually married, and he was using her to cheat on his wife. That's still there. That's still the beginning of the story, but the main character, Mira, changed. She went from just an average person to an empath. She can sense the emotions of the people around her, and she uses that as a counselor. And that leads her to being discovered by another race that lives on this planet with us. Let me explain. You ever be sitting alone in a room, and out of the corner of your eye you see movement? You know there's nobody there. You know where your pets are if you have pets, but you see movement out of the corner of your eye. I see that all the time. So I started thinking, what if there is something behind that movement? What if it's an actual alien race, for example, that It's living here on the planet. We can't see them, we can't hear them, we have no interaction with them at all, but they're here. And that's when I came up with the Adityas, named from ancient Hindu myth. And bang, there we are. And so I excuse me. Excuse me, allergies. Yeah, so the Adityas, they're here on Earth. They're all around us. There's like 36 million or billion. I don't remember right now. Living here on the planet, and we can't see them, we can't touch them, we can't hear them, we can't have any interaction with them at all, except for one person. One person can see them, hear them, interact with them, understand them, and that person is used as an anchor, because if there wasn't a actual person anchoring them to the planet, they would fade away. They would just die out. And they've been here for thousands of years. Every 1,000 years or so, they pick a new host, someone else to anchor themselves with. And long story short, Mira is selected to be the next one. Excuse me, I got a little tongue-tied there. The story turned out pretty well. I liked it. I liked the character. I liked Mira, but I didn't know if I would ever have another story about her. I kind of figured that somewhere along the line I would write the end of her story 1,000 years down the road in 3005, because it was back in 2005 when I finally finished it. But that hasn't happened yet, so I don't know if I'll actually get to that. Tried to get it published on its own, and nothing. Usual. Well, it's a good story, but it's not for us. Every single magazine I sent it to. So I did what I always did with shorter stories at that time. I kept it on my hard drive, and on a regular basis, I'd pull it up, go through it, make sure there's no errors or anything like that, and send it back out and collect another rejection slip. Then I started working on a story titled A Voice in the Darkness, which pulled in a couple of things from my fictional universe. It pulled in the organization known as MelSci, short for Military Science Division of EarthGov, and introduced another character, Mandalay Jones. Don't call her Manda. She doesn't like that. Only her grandmother calls her Manda. But her ex-husband, also a researcher with MelSci. Mandalay used to be with MelSci, but she left. She divorced her husband and left MelSci. And at the start of the story, she's on her way to a interview with EarthGov Security Division 5. Won't go any more into that because that does have spoilers for the future. Anyway, and she's literally kidnapped by MelSci because they want her to go in and try and rescue her ex-husband and find out what's going on with the project he had been working on. Now, I hadn't planned this to be a sequel to With Eyes Open. Had not planned it at all. But once I got Mandalay onto the station where the research was being conducted, well, there was Mira. But that's the way I write. I don't really plan things. Things kind of happen. I hope things are happening organically. So there was there was Mira, and so it allowed me to go into a little bit more uh, about the past of the Adichas, what exactly they want, how they would react if they were discovered, and show how Mira had changed in the in the almost 200 years since. Well, actually, it was 100 years since we last saw her. The last scene of With Eyes Open is 100 years um, after the story itself ends. Anyway, um, and it gave me a chance to go a little bit more the into the Adichas. What are they like? What, more into, like I said, more into their beliefs, and what would they do if they were actually discovered by humanity at large. And again, I liked it. It was longer than With Eyes Open, so I had to. I knew I probably wouldn't be able to get it published on its own. It was too long for that. It's not a short story. It's been a long time since I've written an actual short story, 7,500 words or less. Um, and then I started thinking, because then I started thinking, well, maybe I could put them together. And about that time, I was also thinking about self-publishing, and I was looking at several of these self-publishing uh, venues at the time. I was kind of going back and forth between Smashwords and Amazon and Lulu uh, as the three main ones. So I figured I decided I was going to go with Smashwords because it just seemed the easiest and most straightforward to work with. And I was right. I still published first on Smashwords and then Amazon. I gave up on Lulu. They were annoying. Anyway, um, so I put them together into one collection titled With Eyes Open. And there we are. And I published it. And I don't know if I've sold a single copy. Uh, I'll get into marketing in another video and how I have to actually learn how to do marketing with no budget, but that's beside the point. Um, and it from there I moved on to figure out how to do this better, and I think my covers have gotten better from the first one, but there are other people who will tell me who have told me otherwise. So that's why I'm looking for new covers. But anyway, uh, so yeah, that's really how it goes. Again, I didn't want to go too much into spoilers because there's a couple things that come up in A Voice in the Darkness that spoil character futures. But the same thing happens in Ray also. So anyway, um, we'll deal with that as we go along. So yeah, that's the a brief look at the first published book in my my self-publishing history, With Eyes Open. It's available on Smashwords and Amazon. Uh, I'll have links down below to where you can find direct links to my pages. Um, all my social media is down there also. Um, yeah, so next time we'll see what comes up, and I talk about the next book, Campfire Stories. But we'll see how it goes. Before this, there will be There's also going to be a progress video. It's probably going to come out before this one, but we'll again see how that goes. Um, Thanks for watching. Remember, this is the way, and if yeah, we are each of us the heroes of our own stories and the villains of someone else's. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Bye.